So it was brought to my attention that there are people who are really disappointed that there are only scholarships for what seems like the scholars. And what I mean by scholars, like the 4.0 people, the 3.0 and above people, when there's a huge population of people who don't have a 3.0, don't have a 3.5, don't have a 4.0. And my rebuttal to that, as we were having these conversations on TikTok, was, you can follow me on TikTok at Professor Miles. It's like, what do you do for the people who don't have a 3.0 or higher, don't have good grades or higher, right? Like you have people who are under that 3.0. And I was like, the scholarship does have a portion where they're saying the minimum is 2.5. So you could have a 2.5 to a 3.0 and still apply for the scholarship. And the rebuttal was, well, you know, more than likely they're going to give it to somebody who has a higher GPA, unless you actually are doing some of the additional things that the scholarship is asking for. And we're talking about the AKA scholarship, right? The Alpha Kappa Alpha Educational Advancement Fund. They have an undergraduate scholarship that opens up in January. Uh, they have multiple. They have a merit scholarship for undergrads. They have the scholarship that we're talking about specifically is their Thrive scholarship, which requires a 2.5. But you also have to have community service and community involvement. So the person said, some people don't have community involvement. Some people don't have a 3.0 to be competitive for the scholarship. So how do you actually get scholarships? So for this scholarship, the Thrive scholarship, you might not be the best fit for this scholarship. What's beautiful is that there are over 100,000 different scholarships. There's over $500 million a year given away in scholarships, and that they actually speak to all of these different types of people, which is the beautiful part about scholarships. If you have a 2.0, no community service involvement, and you have just pure financial need, there is a scholarship for you. In addition, you have the FAFSA, the Federal Assistance for Student Financial Aid, FAFSA. And the FAFSA is based upon financial need, regardless of what your grades are, regardless of your community involvement. And it's just purely based upon essentially your taxes or your parents' taxes. So that puts you in a position to be able to get financial need and assistance. You can also get grants as well. I was a recipient of the Pell Grant going to college, and that helped me a lot. And that was based upon financial need. I came from Crenshaw High in South Los Angeles, where 80% of the people who went to my school were free and reduced lunch. I'm no different. I was on reduced lunch. So with I had it cost I think 40 cents a day for me to be able to get lunch at school. So my dad used to give me $2 a day for lunch. If I wanted to do something on the weekend, I had to save up that $2 a day. It would be $10 by the end of the weekend. He also used to have these bus tokens that he would give me, but because I lived just close enough to school, I could walk instead of catching the bus. And that's what I would do. And I would sell my bus tokens. The bus tokens were going for $1 in the corner store. So I would sell my bus tokens for 75 cents, or two for $1.50, or three for $2. And that's how I was able to get additional income and be able to take my girlfriend to the movies. And of course, I had the bus token. So I'm like, I could meet you at your spot and we can catch the bus all the way up to the Fox. And then we could walk over to the bridge and be able to actually go see the movies. And then we can go back, catch that 108 down Slauson, and get all the way back to where we lived in the Crenshaw district. So I understand what it's like to have financial need, but I do come from a background where I had good grades. My rise academically came from a 3.2, where I eventually got better and better grades each year: 3.6, 4.0, and then a 4.2. And that was me freshman, sophomore, junior year. I went 3.0, 3.2, 3.6, 4.0, 4.2. That put me in a position to where my grades got better over time, and I eventually became similar to the students who had a 4.0. There were students who were geniuses in my gifted magnet program that had a 4.0 the whole time. I was always in honors classes. I was in high school, at least, not in middle school. Well, in middle school, I actually was in some honors and some advanced classes as well. And my cheat code there was that my mom's a teacher. So my mom just had me reading, books all the time. And while she's teaching high school geometry, I'm sitting in the back of the classroom just listening and I'm reading it. So by eighth grade, I was in geometry, failed it, and got put back into algebra. In eighth grade, got a B in algebra one, went into high school a year ahead in math. So I recognize that I have some intellectual advancement there. And I this was an awakening moment for me to realize how to be able to speak to different people's needs who are at different places and being able to help people who don't necessarily come with that straight intellectual advancement background or skill set. And so I want you to know there is financial assistance for you if you have a 2.0 and you're going to college. You can go to JUCO, junior college. You could be going to a trade school and still apply for the FAFSA. You can go to your state school. I went to UCLA, which is a state school. You can go to Cal State. You can go to the community colleges and still receive financial aid and still receive grants so you don't have to pay for all of college by yourself. That is still available to you. Don't let finances be the reason why you don't go to college. Don't let you not having a 3.0 or higher be the reason why you're not going to college. And just because these scholarships are asking for a 2.5 or above, if you meet the minimum requirements at 2.5, apply. And the reason why this is so important is because as we become adults, you'll notice that women and minorities don't apply for jobs at the same rate from when they qualify for 60 or 70% of the job. They don't have 100% of the qualifications. And this becomes an imposter syndrome where we don't feel qualified enough. We don't feel valued enough in order to actually go ahead and apply for scholarships. No, more importantly, apply for jobs when we're adults and we're in the real world. And it's like, you know what? You don't have to have all the qualifications in order to apply. Yes, those are their preferred qualifications. And yes, that would be great to have, but you may actually be the best fit for the job and be the person that they hire. And you need to apply and give yourself a chance. And then don't put your value and your worth in receiving that scholarship or receiving that job as confirmation. This is why I always talk about applying for scholarships and going to college is great preparation for understanding the real world when you're able to really put the two together. And so that becomes incredibly important for you to understand and be able to really tap into the best parts of you, but really the best opportunities that exist. So you do these are all great things to have. Your resilience. I talk about that being one of the profiles for scholarships, right? You want to be the resilient student who's gone through hard times and may not have the best grades, but have consistently persevered through your challenges outside of school and inside of school in order to make the best case for yourself. You have that student who gets better over time so that every single year we see that you rise and you rise again and then you rise once more. And then we have the student who just seems perfect from jump and has a 4.0, everything's going well for them and they're achieving all the way through. We also like the students who are leaders. You're captain of the team that you play for that sport. You're also a secretary, vice president, or president of a club that you're a part of. And we can see that your leadership has increased over time and every year. These are the aspects and components that we like to see. You've gone on to different college camps and preparation camps. So you've gone to visit campuses and be able to see how that can make a difference in your life. We also love the student who's a community involved, volunteering their time and their hours and their efforts. And it really comes down to scholarships, specifically love to invest in a student that's already invested in themselves and gone above and beyond and has done more than the average student. Yes, average students do deserve to be able to have financial assistance, but yes, we love to root for winners. And yes, we love to root for the people who have gone above and beyond and established themselves as different. It's just a part of the American culture and humanity. That's just the reality and what life is and how the real world works. People love self motivated individuals. They get hired and they stay employed and they get promoted at a different rate than the folks who are just showing up and just doing the job, doing the minimum. I'm encouraging you to do the maximum, but I'm also encouraging you to recognize that your value isn't less than because you're doing the minimum. Your value as a human being rests upon the fact that God loves you and created you as a spirit who is inside this human body, having a human experience And that is enough that you share that in a positive way with your family, your friends, your community, and yourself. Love yourself and love who you are and know your worth, and say that I'm going to achieve what I'm going to achieve, but your achievements do not validate your worth as a human being. They just increase your chances to get a scholarship. They just potentially increase your chances to be able to expand your network. They just increase your chances to be able to get a job. But we made jobs up, human beings. We made scholarships up, human beings. We made networking up, human beings. But the human being itself was made up by God, and that has a completely different value and worth within the spiritual realm and what God has created it. And so you have to love and understand yourself within a spiritual context at the greater universal concepts that God is much larger and bigger than this measly little planet we call Earth. And then the greater context and expansions of the universe, you are a valuable spiritual human being, because when you look at the statistics of all the sperm that travel to a womb, you were the one who made it and made it through, and that is a miracle in and of itself. So don't let your human value be resting upon a grade or a GPA or a scholarship or a college. But these are valuable goals to have and valuable and tangible things that you can strive for within the human society that we have created. Separate the two, so that way a dollar amount, a job doesn't become your personality, identity, or value. A school doesn't become your identity and your value. That should be independent. That should be resting on your character, because your character goes everywhere you go. And when this world is over and then your body and your life is over 100 years of life and living goes by quick, your character will go with your spirit. Everything else will remain and back to the dirt in which it came. But when it comes to these scholarships, it comes down to the things that you can really say are academically vain. And that's something that you have to realize is going to require you to do a little bit more than just maintain. And so, in order for you to differentiate yourself and not look the same, to a certain extent, I will admit you have to play the game. And that's going to look like you being able to go ahead and say, I'm different. And yes, I have a 2.0 and grew up in a group home and may not have the best grades, but I took time to be able to help others in my community by helping the old ladies in my community take their trash out. I helped out by being able to introduce others who are coming into the group home and understanding, look, this is how the rules go, this is how things go, this is where you sleep, and this is how we can move forward. Despite the fact that addiction has plagued my community through drugs and alcohol and bad habits and crime, I still persevered and decided not to participate in those things once I realized and matured that it wasn't what for me to do. Another example is that you can say, look, my grades have gotten better every single time. I went from a 2.0 to a 2.3 to a 2.5 to a 2.7. By getting into your college and by supporting me with a scholarship, I guarantee you I will continue to rise and rise again. You get to college and your GPA starts over. I know people who had a 2.5, got into Cal State Northridge, and had a 4.0 when they were in college. Now, boom, who cares about your high school grades? They applied for scholarships and was looked at a whole new level. And that's the good and beautiful thing about school, is that it starts over and over and over again. You have these opportunities to reestablish yourself, rebrand yourself, and step into a new light. You can network and communicate with different folks in different places in order for you to be able to reestablish yourself. People move to new cities and start anew. So don't let any of these different type of tangible human being society based labels brand your character, brand your spirit, and brand you as somebody who's not valued or not worth it. And when I say brand, I mean back in the slave days brand. Like it can stay with you forever, or like how they do cows and cattle. You are not society's property. You belong to God, and you are responsible to yourself. You owe nobody, anybody, anything. So do your best in life, live with it, accept it, and love yourself for being the best person that you can be each and every single day. I have this poem that I wrote to help me get into this mindset and character, because I used to devalue myself based upon not reaching some of society's expectations. Yes, in many ways, I was achieving above and beyond, but in the other spaces, I felt so inadequate. And I had to remind myself that I'm an underground king, running fast like Harriet, king of the city, speeding, passing, and all go chariot. I got the world on my back. But don't worry, I can carry it. Success tastes better than fresh bacon, rat, asparagus. Life is simple. Mind, body, and soul. I'm the water and the clay, maker of my mold. No longer a slave, so I could not be sold. I'm the best king around, 6 feet of gold. See my passions, talents, skills. I'm a walking inspiration. I give my best every day. That's the greatest compensation. So, the greatest fact to say, I didn't hold back today. I gave my all. I rose up. I overpowered the fray. I'm the master of my fate. I'm focused all the way. And from this righteous path of God, oh, I'll never go astray. Be blessed, stay confident, and really understand that society does not own you unless you put yourself up for sale.